How we doing, guys?
Good. You've coached with and against Wade. How does he like to attack offenses? And again, having faced him before, what does he in general like to do?
Yeah, he's a great football coach. Obviously, his track record of success speaks for itself, and he has a great way of helping individual players on his teams play well, and certainly they play well as a unit. There's a scheme that he's played for years and years and years, but something he believes in, something they've done really well in all the different stops, but also there's an evolution to what he does, and you see that in the pressures he uses and the coverages they play behind some of those things, and he's an outstanding football coach, and they're playing very well on defense right now.
What's changed for them defensively, you think? Obviously the Baltimore game, maybe you throw that out, but their last however many games are averaging only like 14 points allowed.
Yeah, they've been a really good defense for a number of years, and they have good guys on their front. Obviously, Aaron Donald's an elite player, arguably as good a player as there is in the National Football League. He's hard to block. They got good edge rushers. Linebackers are fast and active. Very good cover guys on the back end. Safeties are very aware, playmaking type guys. So they just play the game the right way. They play at a very high level, and certainly playing very well right now.
How differently do you see them playing with the acquisition of Ramsey?
I don't know that they've changed dramatically in terms of anything they're doing. Certainly he's a really good player, and again, they got some really good players in that secondary. So guys who don't give up a lot of big plays and make a lot of plays. He's certainly one of them.
What did y'all like about Taylor Rapp?
Oh, just a good player. A very active guy, certainly a very smart player. You saw that on tape. It was great to get to know him through the draft process. Doesn't surprise us one bit he's playing as well as he is.
Dak yesterday went through a full practice, but could you notice anything with him throwing the ball with his finger taped up the way it was?
Doesn't seem to have any issues.
Will Sean Lee practice today?
If he does, it'll be limited.
You talked about on your defense, you felt like they're pressing, trying to make the big play and kind of getting themselves out of spots. With offensively, or maybe with Dak, are you seeing him trying to press to make the big play here these last few games?
I don't know if I want to make an overarching comment about anybody. I think when you don't execute well, there's probably a variety of reasons in all phases of your team. That can be one of them. We have guys who are well-intended, want to play well, prepare hard, and sometimes they can get out of themselves. I don't want to make any characterization of any one player, but sometimes that can be a problem, and you have to address those things as they come up and really remind everybody that everybody has a job to do on each play. You're 1/11th of the offense, defense, or special teams unit, and you need to focus on doing your job as well as you can do it. And so we have to get back to that throughout our football team.
Sean Lee you weren't anticipating him to have to play 70 snaps a game, and obviously things change. Is there a balance you maybe need to strike with having him on the field, but also keeping him a little fresher or rested or whatever you want to call it?
I don't think there's any question. I don't know that that's unique to him. You're always trying to do that with your guys to make sure you're playing them the right amount, and sometimes when you're banged up, guys have to play more than maybe you anticipate them playing. But Sean's played a lot of football for us in the past. He's played full games for us in the past. But I think your point's well made, making sure we have a good linebacker rotation to keep all those guys fresh and ready.
How do you think you're better equipped defensively to handle the running game than you were in the playoff game last year?
Different team, different time. We're just focused on this team, and we have to, dig back in and make sure that we're really sound fundamentally and we're a disciplined unit. And those are the things we strive for every week. You have to be physical, you have to be sound fundamentally, you have to be disciplined, you have to sprint to the ball, and you have to tackle. They're a very good run offense, and that's really the key to their success offensively. They're a very balanced attack, and when they run the ball, everything they get off of the run is really good. So it'll be a great challenge for our team this week.
How did Jeff Heath and Antoine Woods do yesterday, and what do you anticipate them being able to do today?
Yeah, each of those guys were able to practice yesterday. We anticipate them practicing again today.
Maybe I'm overthinking this, but Cooper Kupp seems a decent bit bigger than the average slot receiver. Is that more challenging for Jordan given his size?
There's no question he's big, and he's also physical. He's a very good route runner, excellent change of direction, and he's also really good after he catches the ball. His run after catch is outstanding. So, I think that's a challenge for anybody who's playing in there. And, you have to kind of use your strengths and, again, be sound fundamentally and play the defense. You have to be aware of what your leverage is and be disciplined to that. But, again, that's a challenge every week.
if I'm not mistaken, earlier in the week you suggested there was a possibility of certain players getting more playing time if there weren't going to be lineup changes altogether. Have you made any decision in that regard?
I don't know what you're specifically referring to, but obviously all hands on deck. Everybody's got to be ready to go, and that's how we're practicing. And typically we sort out the inactives and the actual playing time towards the end of the week.
With your similar to what Babe was talking about with Sean and playing time, and how do you think that's worked out with Witten this year, and how is that has Jarwin's development been impacted by Jason being here or playing as maybe more, or whatever you thought?
Yeah, I think it's worked out well. You guys probably know the exact snaps better than I do, but we try to go in with a plan for each of those guys to make sure that we understand what they're playing, how much we want them to play, what specific players we want each of them in on. And, obviously Witt has played more. He's been our starter, played more situations, but Blake has played plenty of snaps, and I think he's had an impact. So I think it's been a positive situation for both of them.
McVay was talking to us yesterday on a call about some of his earliest memories as a play caller. What are some of your most vivid memories from your first year as a play caller?
Oh, I think those experiences are just are vivid, and you probably remember some of the plays that you called that went well, but you probably remember the ones that didn't go quite so well, maybe more, and you learn from those experiences, and certainly there were plenty of those. And I think the biggest thing I learned was just the importance of communication, understanding that it's a collaborative process. You have to rely on the other coaches on the staff. You have to rely on players. And I think that was something I went into understanding, and I think that was reaffirmed for me as you went. But every game you come out of, you say, boy, that was good. But then there are plenty of ones that you say, boy, if I had to do that one over again, I'd do that differently. And I think that's a big part of the process, to learn from those experiences, because there are so many different situations you come across, whether it's personnel, whether it's a situation in the game. And so if you're constantly trying to learn and refine your skills, you're going to get better at it as you go.
Do you think your defense has done enough schematically to make younger quarterbacks comfortable, be it by blitzing more or being more exotic with the presentation to disrupt that comfort level?
I think that's what your goal is every week with any quarterback you're playing. You want to make them uncomfortable. You use the exact right word. You want to affect them. There's a lot of different ways to affect them. I think maybe most importantly, you affect them with execution. You affect them by stopping the run. You affect them by rushing them and covering them on the back end. Certainly disguise is a big part of it. Certainly rotating, what you're doing defensively, whether it's your front, your pressures, your coverages. I think that's important. But that's important for playing veteran quarterbacks as well. So you do want to disrupt them. You do want to make them uncomfortable, and you do want to affect them. That's a goal we have every week.
Do you feel like over the past couple games, given the seeming comfort that those quarterbacks, younger quarterbacks, less experienced quarterbacks have had, that's maybe an opportunity to do more in such matchups?
Yeah, again, I think you got to go back to the execution part, because if you don't stop the run, doing the basic fundamental things, that's when they get really comfortable, because now they have the whole thing at their disposal. So certainly disguise and mixing it is important, but if you're not executing the things you're playing, he's going to get really comfortable. And so you want to do all those things. Your points are well made, but ultimately you got to do the basic fundamental things as well. That's the thing that affects them the most.
You've talked about players taking ownership of teams, and that's the best teams you're around that's happened. How do you think your captain group, leadership group has handled this time with what you guys have?
Yeah, I think they've done an excellent job. I think the leaders across our team do a great job providing the example for what you need to do each and every day to go play your best football. And at times, leaders need to speak up and talk, but most importantly, they need to show up by what they do. And our guys have certainly done an outstanding job of that. They have a great spirit about them. They're mentally tough guys. And again, they provide a really good example for the rest of our football team.
We've asked you before about the tackling. You've talked about the need to improve that across the board. When you have an erosion in a fundamental like that requires all 11 with the gap integrity and being disciplined, is it a little harder to work through to get back to where you need to be in that area?
Well, you just have to. You're not going to play a very good defense if you don't tackle well. And, tackling goes so far beyond just the physical art of tackling the individual. It's how you are It's how you get lined up, your alignment, understanding your assignment, the technique you use, understanding where your keys are to get yourself in the right position, the angles you take to the ball. You set it, all 11 guys getting to the ball, and then physically tackling guys the right way. And it's always something you're trying to get better at. I've never been around a defense that says, boy, we're all set on tackling. We got that down. The best defenses who have ever been a part of this league, they're always trying to be a better tackling team, because ultimately that's how you end the play. And so we'll continue to strive to do that. At times this year we've done a very good job of it. Other times not good enough. We've been inconsistent, and certainly that's a point of emphasis for us going forward.
You often talk about focusing forward, but when you have a stretch like this, when you've lost a few games in a row, do you ever go back and show your players, okay, look, you were doing it right here. Here's examples of you doing this well, not just someone else doing it well?
Yeah, I think that's what you do a lot. You're always trying to reinforce what's right, doing it the right way. The best examples are the ones of your own players doing it the right way. And then you're also saying this is the wrong way, and this is the difference between those two things. And so each and every day as a teacher or as a coach, you're trying to kind of reinforce what you want by reaffirming what that is and also showing what it isn't and what the differences are.
From a mental matchup, kind of chess game, what's the matchup there with Eric Well controlling the defense?
He's just a hell of a player. He's really a smart player, an aware player. He's around the ball a lot, both in the run game and the pass game. And, I don't know what the mental matchup is beyond just we have to be aware of him, because he's someone who just has a really good feel for the game, very good instinct for the game. You can tell he's such a good communicator back there, anticipates situations really well. So he's certainly one of those guys in the back end that makes that whole thing go for them.
Thank you.
All right, good to see you guys.
You coach.